right now.
Right now. Good morning. Hello, welcome. Happy Monday. Welcome to Tech Talk with T and E, which today it is Tech Talk with Marty and Dan. They're our special guests today, and I wanted to welcome them and say, hey, shout out, happy Monday. We're going to cover a few things that we have upcoming in the SEOST DMC online conference that we've got coming up at the end of this month. And I wanted to welcome everyone. Like, share, subscribe, and follow. That's the 4 things that Terry needs to put on a sticky note so he forgets. But welcome, Marty, and welcome, Dan. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, Elizabeth. Thanks so much. I was sitting there wondering when you guys were going to invite me on, and just, thrilled to be here.
Awesome.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, welcome, gentlemen. You guys are obviously 2 of our faves for sure. So, for anybody that hasn't heard, we are putting on SEO Spring Training Digital Marketing Conference is putting on an online event at the end of August 26th through the 30th. It's a different event this time around because it's digital. It gives us a little bit of flexibility on how we can do stuff. So this is a teaching event. So we're giving the teachers, they're not speakers, the teachers, enough time to actually teach you something. So if somebody has prerequisites, like if you're whatever Dan's going to teach, if you need prerequisites like softwares or whatever, we'll announce those ahead of time so you can get that stuff. But the biggest thing is we wanted an event that, unlike the live events, which are awesome, I would never take away from those. But at the live event, it's really hard to work on your laptop and try to implement somebody that's just talking from a stage with a PowerPoint or something. So this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be actually teaching. You're going to be able to ask questions through the whole thing. Some incredible stuff you're going to be learning around AI, automation, how to use it in your agency, how to upsell some stuff to your clients. So it's going to be a pretty cool event. So we did add the 3rd day we announced last week, just because there's so many incredible people that want to teach stuff out there. So we're going to do that. So anyways, again, welcome, gentlemen. So who wants to start? Mr. Marty, you want to talk about what you're going to plan on teaching? I know you sent me an email or a text about it. It sounds pretty freaking awesome.
Well, Terry, you know me for a long time now. And, I've presented at a number of SEO spring trainings. And, Dan and I go back quite a while, and Elizabeth. And everybody knows that I'm a little insane. I'm a bit crazy. And I love to break the rules. I love to be contrary. I love to point out all the BS in the industry. And that's what I'm going to do at this digital marketing event. And what I'm going to be talking about is everybody out there, the majority of people out there are so myopic and obsessed, compulsively obsessed with AI that they're leaving behind probably what I consider, at least, one of the single most important aspects in all of marketing, no matter what kind of marketing you're doing, and has nothing to do with AI. And if people can understand what I'm going to be teaching and then add that into what they're doing with AI, it will make things, I think, a lot more powerful. So the topic that I'm going to be teaching is called Laugh It Up, Prompt Monkey. This is an intervention. Because I see that 99% of people out there who are getting into or even have been involved in AI for the last year or two are so obsessed with prompt engineering and getting the prompts right. And you know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. Well, that's taken over everybody's mindset. And so everybody's focused on how can I create better prompts? How can I get a better output? Oh, is ChatGPT better than Claude? And it's go on and on and on and on. And I'm here to say, stop it. Everybody is becoming a prompt monkey. And what I want to say is that there's a whole science out there that fulfills the big question, right? Why are we all in business? Why do we do SEO? Why do we do paid advertising? Why do we have an agency? Why do we do anything, right? Why do we own a brand, a service? The objective is to get more customers, right? We want to scale, we want to make more profit. There's a commercial aspect involved in it, unless you're, a 501c3 and you're providing humanitarian aid someplace. We're looking for more customers. Your agencies out there are looking for more clients.
Yeah.
People don't make decisions based on an algorithm. Nobody cares about your chatbot named Chad. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares at all about your autonomous content flow. What people care about is what's in it for them and how they react to the things that they see, the inputs they get, the questions that are asked of them, the offers that are made to them. And sure, if you want to use GPTs, to get a head start, awesome. You want to use it to make things more effective, fantastic. But if you leave out the essence that I'm going to teach about, is what moves people, what makes people, what controls people's decisions, behaviors, buying actions, has nothing to do with AI at all. So I'm going to shake things up a little bit.
I love that. I have questions. So,
my first question? Oh, man.
I know.
Dan, save me here. Go on.
I know. Well, everybody, we all know that we're being manipulated psychologically. We know that we're being fed things to elicit a response, elicit a reaction. And I know that I don't have statistics, but there's probably a certain percentage of the population that is just numb to it and they respond. And that's great. What about the critical thinker? Is that who you're trying to appeal to?
No, actually. I'm taking it way, way, way downstream, Elisabeth, and I'm appealing to the lizard brain. I'm appealing to what's built into us, what's built into our subconscious, and how we react to things. You're walking down the street and you hear, out of the blue, suddenly a gigantically loud explosion right behind you. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and say, oh, gee, that was a loud sound. What could it possibly be? No, that's the considered thinker. We don't do that. What we're going to do is we're going to jump out of our skin thinking that maybe there's an active shooter behind us. And we're going to either duck or run or turn around or engage or whatever it is that we're going to do. But that action that we take, that reaction, is instantaneous. And we don't logically think it through. So I'm going to teach everybody how to appeal to the deep, instinctual lizard brain that makes everybody, and I mean everybody, react the way they react without thinking about things.
Cool.
So I'm going to get into. I love the word you said, Elisabeth, about people feel they're being manipulated, and the answer to that is yes, they are. And basically, forgive my French, but Tovshitsky, it's not going to change. People are being manipulated. People are manipulated every day. It's never, ever, ever going to stop. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Except understand how it happens.
Well, and that understanding and awareness is going to create a sense of you're going to see it. Like once you see the magic trick, it's not so mysterious and ooh and ah anymore. You're like, okay, yeah, I saw behind the curtain.
That's true. And here's what's going to happen, though. And here's what I hope happens. I hope it forces marketers to be more honest. I hope it forces marketers and sellers in every category and agencies to be a little more transparent and understand that the consumer and the client they're looking for, you don't need to bullshit them to win the business. And, Terry, you've taught me this over years and years. And, Dan and I, we've had conversations about this for hours. Transparency matters. Truth matters. Believability and trust matters. And if you can build that, you win. And if you break it, you lose. So if you see Kim Kardashian, sorry, Kim, if you see Kim Kardashian talking about, or Kylie Jenner talking about makeup, right? It's relevant to them. If you see them talking about the latest iPhone case, what the hell do they have to do with iPhone cases? So they're being paid to promote it. So there's no trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say that there is such a hunger and thirst for authenticity in social media. And I do see a rise in the people that are authentically themselves getting a little bit more space and time out there.
Yeah. I think there's also a phenomenon, and Dan, you can chime in on this because this was part of the conversation you and I had at spring training, was that people believe what they want to believe. People hear what they want to hear. They see what they want to see. It's confirmation bias. Mm-hmm. And now it's very hard to immediately feel that something you see on social media or online is really true or it's fake. And AI is helping to contribute to that. So it's going to make people trust less and less and less and less because we don't have the time to chase down and fact check every single thing we see.
Yeah.
So trust is going to go down the tubes, right in the toilet, across the board. And those few marketers who can create an environment of real trust and real believability and real credibility, those are the ones that are going to win. And there's only going to be a few of them. And that's why we all do what we do is we try to teach people how to win, what it takes to win.
Yep, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah, there's a bunch of people, obviously with the wrath of AI going on right now that are talking about, what is the future? What is the kind of the human side of the future? And there's a lot of these gurus that are coming out now saying that the human element is going to become more wanted because people are actually going to miss it. They're going to miss everything being so, automated, hands off. I give you this response, you give me this response without any feeling or emotion into it. And there's a lot of that stuff. I'm already starting to see it now. I watch a lot of podcasts, and the people that are real, are the people that are being paid attention to for sure, 100%.
Absolutely, it's the redoing of the 90s when the automated phone lines came into existence. And no, I don't want to talk to the robot. Give me a live customer service representative. How do I hit 0 and get to a human? And
exactly.
Representative. We're screaming into the phone. Dan, you're so right. I scream into the phone all the time. Press 9 if you're representative. We all do it, and we're in the business.
We're about to have that with AI. We're at that turning point where I think enough people are realizing that this is what's happening. They're like, okay, cool. I can find the patterns. I can see what it's doing, because a lot of people are not training it up on their voice, training it up on their brand. They're not doing the things to make it so that the way I look at AI is more of you are using it to do the grunt menial tasks. It is allowing you to be an operator in your own business, not the guy in the trenches. The problem is that a lot of people are going out of their way to just, I built this system and that's good enough. and they have this janky AI generated YouTube video, and that's their channel, and that's all their reels and all this sort of stuff. And people are like, okay, great, we get you don't have the time to do it because you're a single person, but like put some time and development into it, put some thought into the material you're putting out there. Don't just post AI slop is really what it's coming down to. And that's where we're getting is a lot of these coders are lazy. They're, $25K for a ringless voicemail system and whatever they're building on the back end. And it's garbage a lot of the times. Like if you don't take the time to actually put the thought into it, then again, garbage in, garbage out, like Marty said. But at a larger level, the general public outside of marketing is just going to start pushing back real hard against it. We're already seeing it.
Well, I've seen a lot of people that are utilizing AI creatively, and that's great and that's fun. But then I see a lot of people that are they're not looking at the fine points and the fine details, and not so much like, yeah, okay, so it has a canned response, but they're like just copying and pasting it. They're not trying to put anything in their own words. They're not trying to, utilize some intelligent thought. I've seen where, yes, it can do all the tasks. It can write blogs for you. It can write content. It can create your metas and all of that. And that's great, but you still have to have human eyes on the page, There's so many things that can be missed, and the devil is literally in the details.
Yep, 100%.
That's a great point about the devil being in the details. I'm on LinkedIn a lot, and one of the topics I see coming up over and with greater frequency is people are saying, "Oh yeah, all those M dashes in the content." Right? That's actually a conversation. Are you kidding me? M dashes have been around for 1,000 years, from Shakespeare's time and back, and it's proper English grammar to use an M dash in certain cases in content. But oh no, you see an M dash now in content, and the first thing you think of is that was done by AI. So what happens is you now dismiss all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. There's, like my favorite is the word conclusion. It's just like, no, all my prompts do not put these conclusion. Furthermore, Terry doesn't talk that way. So
in the ever evolving world of.
Yeah, exactly. So
in today's fast-paced industry of ABC Corp, whatever it is,
it's crazy, Dan, right?
Yeah, the problem is that you have, and this is probably going to rustle some jimmies, you've got standard issue marketers using standard issue AI, making standard issue tools. And if everybody's having the same 3 hots and a cot every day, then you're in AI hell. Like nobody's doing anything different. It's the same regurgitated, rehashed nonsense being pushed out over and over and over again.
Yeah, and by the way, that not only affects content, it affects what you brought up before, Elizabeth, the metas. It affects headlines. It affects website hero messages. It affects emails and subject lines and social media posts and paid ads. It affects every single piece of marketing in every single channel across the board, from SEO to website creation to whatever you want to do, to the skywriting or whatever. It's all exactly as Dan said. If you do everything the way everybody else does it, you will never, ever get competitive advantage. Every category today is so crowded that competitive advantage is the only way you're ever going to really succeed, other than outspending every one of your competitors. And who can afford to do that? It's not sustainable.
Yeah. To use a marksmanship analogy, AI should be your assisted scope on your sniper rifle, not your spray and pray with your machine gun.
100%. Yep. And that's the whole thing. It's just, it's somebody posted on Facebook on one of our friends about that. He actually had to take a mental day just because AI is going 1,000 different directions at 1,000 miles per hour. And if you keep getting sucked into a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, oh, here's another rabbit hole. Oh, nope, I'm going to go over to this rabbit hole. And by the time it's done, you really haven't accomplished anything. You haven't mastered anything by any means. And so I think that's becoming a real thing. We chose ChatGPT early on, and as an agency, our goal was to make it our bitch. That was it. We master it, and then all the new stuff that they keep adding to it. As much as I want to get it in play, we don't unless it's part of our core business. So I'm still an agency. And what I do after 3:00 on my laptop down in the living room watching TV. Then that's my playtime, and so I get to go out and do stuff. But it's important to realize that if you start lily pad jumping, which in technology has always been an issue. I mean, when I was building computers, man, I went from Intel to AMD back over to. I mean, it was just never a set standard, and it drove me crazy. And here we are in the AI world, and I see the same exact thing. You guys saw Chad Michael's presentation at spring training. He just went through about 60 different softwares out of about 600. So, and it does get kind of frustrating to where you do need to step back, take a day, don't stay away from it for a while, and then come back into it again and realize where you want to focus and basically, where do you want to focus and what do you want to do dependent on your processes and stuff that you're trying to get better at.
Yeah, I'm going to play a little bit on Dan's analogy. I'm going to use a self-defense analogy. Myopia kills. If you're not situationally aware of your environment, you will die. It's just that simple.
100%.
And same thing happens in marketing. If you're myopic, if you're tunnel visioned about AI, and you're consumed and you're going down the dark rabbit hole of AI and you don't understand why you're doing it, you just know you have to, or you feel you have to, you're going to fail. I don't care if you're an SEO, PPC specialist, an agency. If you have that myopia about AI, not only will you fail in what you're trying to do, you're going to go broke.
Yep.
Period. You will go broke. End of discussion. It's not up for debate because your competitors are going to eat your lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
100%.
It's just going to happen that way. Those who know, if you know, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those who know will win, and those who don't will get left behind. This is evolution happening before our eyes.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a question come up: how to use AI effectively to do SEO for local businesses? I think it's the same. Doesn't matter if it's local, national, franchise, whatever. I think the biggest use of AI for local businesses is around content. I do write around clusters. So if my plumber wants to dominate Dallas for tankless hot water heaters, I'm probably going to do about 15 blog posts about that, from everything from people also ask to queries to everything. And I'm going to dominate that market with basically content. I'm going to answer every query that I can find around that topic, and I'm going to write about it. And if I do need to go out and do some backlinking, I will, as far as external linking. But for the most part, we're a content house, and we're seeing huge things with just really good AI content. And it works great for local businesses. So another thing that's
really good content, whether it's AI or not, that's the key. Really good content.
Yeah, and you have to personalize these things. I don't care what machine you use, what ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. You have to personalize it. And everybody's like, okay, I personalize it to my voice. Well, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about personalizing to who you are as a brand, who you are as a person. The voice is just one piece of it. And it's typically the last piece. Yeah. You need to introduce these tools to you and your brand and who you are and what you do and where you do it and all this other stuff. So when it does start writing for you, it's personalized. We don't get, I think I've got one client that wants to see their content anymore. nobody wants to read it. And it's just good. Just load it, Terry. Just go. Just load it. So, and that's the cool thing about once you start figuring out and quit going down the Claude route and then switch over to Chat GPT and let's go play over here in Perplexity and no, just master one of them and then go to the next one. So but that's kind of my thing with local businesses is it doesn't matter. It's all about building the brand. If my plumber has a shitty brand, I'm going to build that brand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mention that brand in every single piece of content I do, every image, every video, everything's going to be around that brand. And
we've seen disastrous effects if you're not paying attention to your content. We've seen clients that other companies have put really bad content, not checked it, and it's had disastrous effects. So that's probably why our focus is content more than anything else, as an agency, because we have an obligation to represent our clients as completely and accurately as possible, whether the client reads the content or not. Like I just had a new project and we're setting it up to build a website. And I submitted 108 pages of content to the client and they're like, I'm not going to read it. I'm like, well, I hope it's right. Like we internally check it, but there are, again, those details, those tiny nuances. Like you got to help me out here. I can only do so much.
Absolutely. One of the things that I've gotten into, because a lot of the stuff that I do is kind of around SEO. Like obviously I do SEO stuff, but I like to tiptoe around the edges and play with other stuff and bring it in. So one of the things we're doing is working on making any content that we're publishing segue content to get somebody to a conversion page. So what we're doing is we're putting in the customer avatar, their current pain points, and then we're running that as an additional filter on the content so that when it's writing specifically to that client avatar for that product or that service, which then just gives it, they're like, oh my God, it's written exactly for me. It's not only are we matching the intent, but we're matching what the user's doing. We're matching the avatar. And you guys said it great, but I like using the shorthand version of it. When you're doing search engine optimization or anything else, search engines, Google, whatever it might be, they're an advertising engine first, they're a search engine second. So right. And they're doing it to go ahead and display the ads for advertising revenue. So the point of Google having a search engine is to terminate that search. If you can do that better than anybody else and you're doing it effectively, then you win.
Yeah.
That's it.
Take it one step further, Dan. Let's suppose that you do a great job, and we'll use SEO as the example. You're doing a great job and you're actually getting customers that you want, nicely targeted, highly qualified, to click and come to your website.
Mm-hmm.
If they leave your website and you haven't captured them in a sale, a conversion, or a very deep engagement, they will never come back. They're gone. Look at your bounce rates. Bounce rates, every bounce is a lost customer. Not only a lost customer, it gets worse. Every bounce is a potential customer that you have actually proactively handed over to your competitors.
100%.
So I'll throw out, since we're chatting about stuff, and eventually I'll get to talking about what I'm doing for the presentation. But as a super nerd thing that you can do, and anybody can go and do this. So if you're watching, here's a free nugget of value. So if you're on the fence about coming to the event, here's something you can do. So a lot of agencies like to run cold email, right? So they'll go ahead, they'll do cold email, and they'll go ahead and send out, a bunch of things to say, hey, can you get on my calendar? Go one step further, find out what the pain points are in your market and develop a newsletter around that. Build it on Beehive as a platform. It's an email platform. It's free. BEEHIIV.com. The reason why is Beehive has a one-click magic subscribe link. It's the only email service I've ever seen that has this. And it has a token in it for the email address. So you can send out, instead of sending out junk pieces of getting somebody to try and get on a phone call with them, you find the people in the market that you want to target and you send them informational pieces of content about what would help them in their business. So whatever vertical you're targeting, whatever market you're targeting, and you go ahead and you send them informational pieces via cold email. And the only call to action on it is click here to join my newsletter, where you're going to get more information like this. And then in every single one of those newsletters, there's a call to action for somebody to book a call. There's just a little box in the middle of the email, properly formatted. But by doing it that way, we're doing testing with that right now. And you guys know I have data. I'm not using my data right now. We're getting a 70% open rate and getting about 1,500 to 3,000 subscribers a week.
Jeez, right on.
So, and that's cold email. And again, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm using Instantly and Beehive, which again is a free platform. But if you're looking to build an email list or a buyer's list, that's the fastest way to do it.
Are you putting them in? So you're just doing it to gather email addresses, or are you doing it to funnel?
Oh, so funnel them to a newsletter, but then on the newsletter, there's a call to action every time I send one out for somebody to book a call.
Okay.
So we're going the straight informational approach instead of everybody who does cold emails just hardball pitching every single time.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So if you go in with a value stack like that, or actually written informational content that'll help them, and then you've got that single one-click subscribe button for Beehive in there, you're just going to start building your subscriber list like that. Beehive also has a co-branded monetization thing. So if somebody signs up for your newsletter and you have monetization turned on, there are one-click subscribe buttons for them to get other relevant industry-related newsletters. You'll get paid for making that referral.
Right.
So now you're using cold email to generate your own list, and Beehive is paying you anywhere from $2.50 to $17 per subscriber to build somebody else's list at the same time, who does something different than you do. So that's an easy way to have effectively a zero-cost cold email service.
Wow. Right on. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I actually love cold email. It's one of my favorite things. That's how we kind of got started. A lot of us did. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Wow.
So if anybody's on the fence, we'll be talking about stuff like that during my presentation.
That's
insane, Dan. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Good deal. So what do you guys think of as far as what's your favorite rabbit hole to go into now? Is it through automations? Is it through video, images? Where's your kind of sweet spot? I know Dan's always about automation.
For me, it's process. Anywhere in the process where I can figure out how to not necessarily eliminate myself from doing that task, but what I want to do, like I was saying before, is I'm using AI as an enablement for that task to be done. So it's more of, okay, so if I'm going to hire somebody for this position, what are the grunt work things that I've been doing that I don't want to do, but still have to be done? And then when I go to hire somebody, they are now a process owner and operator, as opposed to being, a VA who's getting paid $5 an hour. They're, 12 to 15 bucks an hour, maybe even 20 bucks an hour, depending on the complexity of the task. But I'm having AI help them with that so that their job is easier and they are monitoring and being an effective employee instead of running around and chasing their own tail.
That's cool. That's pretty awesome. What do you think, Mr. Marty?
Well, I'll confess, I'm one to fall down lots of rabbit holes really easily because I'm just curious as to what's going on out there. In the world of AI, you got Altman coming out and saying, we got ChatGPT 5 coming out any minute, and that's going to blow everything away. And then you've got, Anthropic coming out, and, Claude is doing crazy things, and you can't keep track, right? So, in my home office, I've got like 5 screens, and there's a different AI open on 3 of them.
Yeah.
So if I have something that I want to see or ask or do or create, piece of content, for example, I'll run it through all of them. And then I'll check this out. I'll run a question through 3 different AIs. Create a piece of content. Here's my input. I'll take the output that they each create, and I'll send it to the others, and I'll say, critique this and make it better.
Yeah.
And so I'll have 3 AIs giving me 9 versions and updates of content. I don't even have to pay attention to it. And then an hour later, I'll come back after lunch, and I'll have a piece of content that's triple optimized. It's got everything it needs. There's nothing left out. And now I have a piece of content that theoretically should be more powerful than what any one of them can create.
That's cool. Yeah, but I did that with Schema. A lot of people say, how do I use AI and schema, I take my schema templates and I throw it in there and say, what else can I add that is not in here according to schema.org? And that's probably my favorite thing about using AI is the different ideas and stuff it gives you that you just don't normally think of when you're doing, especially repetitive tasks. You know, what can I do? I mean, I've put my SOPs up there. It's like, here's our SOPs for loading blog content. What am I missing? You know, and it'll come back and it'll put 3 or 4 items in there that we definitely do, but for some reason we missed it in the SOP, in the standard operating procedure. So that's kind of like my jam. I love just going, okay, here's a document. I'm going to throw it in there. What else can I do with this document? You know, so a lot of people know I've been getting SEO University ready for launch completely at the end of August. And, you know, I've been throwing my ideas. I'm not a good writer. I can't sit down at a keyboard and type. I'm just not a good writer. I can voice my thoughts and have something else write it and stuff. So, you know, that's what I use a lot of it, which especially with ChatGPT is like, okay, here's this topic. Here's me speaking this topic and teaching this topic. You need to turn it into text. So, yeah. And that's kind of where we're at. And it's just, you know, but I love that portion of it. 2 years ago, man, I mean, I think we were spending $8,000 a month in content 2 years ago. It's nuts. It's freaking nuts. You know, all these different $25 to $30 an article. You guys remember those days? Hey, I got enough money to buy 3 articles.
Yeah. And then take them and run them in Spintax and go post them on a link building network.
Exactly. Yep. And, you know, but now shit, I'll write 50 articles in, you know, 4 hours sitting in front of the television. So,
well, you know, at spring training, well, late one night, Dan and Kyle and Brandon was with us, and we were all talking about, and we all agreed that repetitive tasks will kill us all.
Mm-hmm.
And that automation sounds great and is a fantastic objective to achieve, but how you create the automation makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's distilled down to garbage in, garbage out. If you're not creating it the right way, then your end result is not going to be what you want it to be. I think Dan can really speak to the details of that. You know, there's a lot of nuances.
Absolutely. So a lot of people see it as, again, input versus output. So I like to use the analogy. A lot of way that people are building automations, AI, complex processes in their business is they view it very much from the mindset of input quarter, receive gumball. Mm-hmm. And that's not true. The way that you need to think about AI and automation is it is a Ford assembly plant, going back to old school industrial revolution stuff. You are building a car, but if that car comes out with triangular wheels and you try and sell it on the market, you're screwed. Like somebody has to be there to do the QA process. You need somebody, not necessarily at every step of the process, but you need to know where it's breaking down. The system will tell you, it doesn't matter what you're using, N8N, Zapier, Make.com, self-hosted, whatever. Something in there will always tell you and flag as a false positive that it's working. And then you go to get the output content and it's stuttery and it's jittery and it's a mess. And you're like, well, what the hell happened? Where did it break down? And every single API goes, wasn't me. I successfully posted back the material that I wanted. Like, yeah, but you didn't check to see that it wasn't, you know, it didn't sound like Porky Pig when it came out. This YouTube video is useless. Like it's one of those things. But if you're not checking that, all of a sudden now everybody who sees your marketing content thinks you have a hardcore stutter. They're like, I'm not getting on a sales call with that guy. I'm going to be there for 2 hours for a 30-minute sales call.
Well, that's that discernment. Like you need somebody to really ask the question, is this right? Is this true? Is this valid? And, you know, I see a lot of stuff thrown out there that maybe could use a little more discernment.
Yeah, for sure.
Our buddy Sam just announced that launch of ChatGPT 5 is this month.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's out now?
Yeah, not out yet. It's coming this month, he said.
Yeah,
I'll be sure to miss that like I've missed the last 3.
Well, I see so much going so fast with AI, and I see everybody pushing. There was something on national TV yesterday about the future of AI, talking, about where it's going and what it's seeing like in the next 5 years. And it's just going so fast. And you absolutely nailed it, Marty, when you talked about, the evolution of our species, of our thought processes and all of that. I mean, survival of the fittest, but also survival of the smartest and the most strategic.
Yeah.
I saw an interview or a clip of an interview that I watched yesterday. I don't even know when the interview occurred. And it was a very credible reporter interviewing Bill Gates. And he asked Bill about AI, what's going on with AI and the future of AI. And could you distinguish, please, Mr. Gates, the difference between AI and AGI, right? Artificial General Intelligence. And he refused to answer the question. He hummed and hawed around it and wouldn't answer the question directly. Now, when Bill Gates, who has the answer, or is as good an answer as any to a question like that, refuses to give you a straight answer, something's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the way I'm viewing the way the development curve for AI has been, is it is the new version of the space race back in the 60s. The problem is that it's not us against the Russians. It's now these tech companies against the standard working folks in a lot of cases. It's the guy in the middle is going to get squeezed.
100%.
Yeah.
You guys been following?
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, have you guys been following this Mark Zuckerberg trying to hire all these people for all this money? He just this company, I guess, has been going after. He offered this engineer $1 billion over a 10-year period, and the guy turned it down. I was just like, geez.
Yeah, when you're at that level, call me. I want to know what you're doing. When you can turn away $1 billion.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. It's nuts.
But I want to know where AI interferes or crosses over with technical and trades. Where is that going to leave your local plumber? Because that's one of the big conversations. When AI gets out there and digs a ditch, then I'll walk away. But I mean, they're moving in the direction for robotics. They're not stopping or slowing down.
Yeah.
So
the big thing that I'm seeing, and it's early days for it, but I know somebody who's doing this, so I can speak to it a little bit. He's in the RPA space, robotic process automation. So he's found a system that allows him to have this machine. And what it does is it's for lifting heavy loads and being able to move it up a staircase. So he went ahead and started building a company and doing SEO and running some paid ads in some very affluent neighborhoods in Texas. And this device takes billiard tables and grand pianos up flights of stairs to put them on the second story of somebody who's a high net worth individual's house. It requires almost no hand holding from a human person. You set the thing up, you inflate it. It's got this bladder that then conforms to the shape of the unit. And you just have to basically hold it steady, no more than 30 pounds. So a teenager could do it. And you just walk the thing up the stairs. It gets there. It figures out how to rotate it, puts the table down in the exact spot where you wanted it, and it maps the entire procedure. It's got cameras on the front, back, and sides. It watches the staircase, figures out where it's going, calculates the steps, does everything, and places it on the second floor. So he bought this robot for, I think it was $5 or $6 grand, set up the website, and he charges $5 grand per job. And it's an AI powered robot that does exactly that. And it's just for that specific market. So he's figured out his niche, his sector, and everything else. Bought a robot for $5K, saw the practical use for it, and he now has $1 million a year business that has 2 employees.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Great specific analogy.
Yeah.
But I do think there's definitely some parts of home services that definitely can be automated with AI as far as robots.
The way that I'm seeing with the home services is, here's another great example, is they're letting the older technicians out in the field, the seasoned guys who are going to be retiring in 3 to 5 years, and they're giving them the meta goggles, the glasses with the cameras in them, and they're having them go onto job sites and record themselves doing the jobs. So now they have a video library to train all the wet behind the ears greenhorns that are coming in. And here's the video library of how to handle any type of house, any situation you're going to see as an electrician, a plumber, whatever, in this area. Here's the common things that you're going to see. Here's the common pitfalls. As an exterminator, here's the common bugs you're going to run into. Here's what I'm using. Here's the poisons. Here's the traps. Here's all of that. So now they're making a video library of all this data, feeding it into their system, and now making text SOPs for their guys to go out into the field and do it, and handing them a field manual for their region.
Yeah.
So every one of them can be their own kind of Google Maps.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. But I definitely think, here's the thing though, I think we're years away from people being comfortable with a robot entering their house to work on it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Will it happen someday? Sure. To certain populations, sure. But I think if I owned a plumbing company, I wouldn't be panicked right now. I'd be definitely automating and doing some processes and automations to that. The training thing, I think the whole, I'm sorry if you're a teacher, but you're screwed. If you're a freaking high school teacher, an elementary school teacher, you got a rude awakening coming, because these schools are already seeing the value of using, AI to teach the students and not have the pay and the retirement of having a teacher. So I think training is the easy step, the next step for AI, because you can sit down there and, that's what we do. We're doing it now. And so but I definitely think it's going to happen. I definitely think it's that if you are in the local space, that, automate your processes, automate your invoicing, automate your, whatever you can automate, and especially around your training. I've got an HVAC guy, a real good friend of mine, and he has built this incredible training system. Just hire him, throw him in there. Let me know when you're done in 7 days. It's kind of,
Well, to speak to the teacher comment, like there is kind of a joke on social media that all of these like COVID babies are entering kindergarten. And I think there's probably a whole rash of teachers that are happy and willing to give up those positions because of the shifts that we've seen in children's behavior and society and everything. So,
sure. 100%.
Then again, what is that going to create?
Yeah. That's I think, and then you also bring up when are governments going to get involved in all this stuff?
Oh, they are.
They are
in the biggest possible way, more than anybody can imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, think about it this way. There's inside the intelligence community, the data community, and a lot of that stuff, there's something that's known as the civilian delay gap. So whatever we currently have is delayed by about 20 to 25 years of what's been previously tested and exploited inside of larger firms. So like, for example, back in the 90s, there was an AI that came online by the name of Aladdin, and it was a financial investing system that was based on, programmed, and then created for the folks at BlackRock for them to go ahead and logarithmically figure out where to invest, how to scale, and all that stuff. And that was mid-90s. And
we know where that ended up, right?
And now here we are, we're like, oh my God, ChatGPT can write me sentences. And meanwhile, BlackRock's valued at, however many trillions of dollars they currently have. Like, okay, cool. But there's that 25-year gap between where we should be and where some private firms and some folks in the intelligence.
Change that analogy, Dan, to our market of agencies and SEOs and marketers and, all of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. When programmatic trading came in, And the big trading houses could just, there's a computer program and instantaneously in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. The average consumer investor didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
You never got in before the big guys, and you never got out before the big guys when you had to. So you were screwed. Period. Full stop. You couldn't compete. This is what's happening today in every industry that all of us deal in,
Mm-hmm.
with what's going on with AI. And exactly as you said it, Dan, you're so right, that those who master it now have an edge, but it's going to catch up. Everybody's going to catch up. And at a certain point, not today, maybe not tomorrow, but every one of us is going to be equal. We're all going to have the same capabilities. At that point, nobody has an advantage.
Yeah, you're a unique snowflake like everyone else.
Yeah.
Right on.
I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see, but I definitely think that I still know we belong to a local group here, local marketing group, and I still know one of the guys there just refuses to use AI even for content.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, dude, you're swimming uphill in a muddy river right now.
Yeah.
Well,
And
we're going to definitely have segregated population as far as the people that are embracing it, the people that are refusing it, and that gap is just going to get wider and wider.
100%,
For
definitely.
sure.
I think that's the natural attrition of it. I mean, I do a lot of white label stuff, and when I talk to these agencies, it's amazing how they're still in 12, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not sure where to go. Well, do something.
Yeah. And anything is better than what you're currently doing.
Exactly. Start down some path, please. And so, when we started pushing this event out, and telling people you can now learn right at your computer and, have a blast doing it. We're going to have happy hours. We're going to have fun. When we did our online event back in 2020, because we were kind of forced to, or not kind of, we were forced to, it was a freaking blast. But you can come and you can learn this AI stuff. You can learn, something that might just trigger what your brain says, wow, I could really get into this, especially if you don't know where to start, so come see 25 plus teachers, and pick and choose what you want to go down, which rabbit hole you want to go down.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the reason we did this is because, we all sit in conferences and the information is great. Like the pieces that we get in the short amount of time is awesome. But then you go back home and you get stuck in the day-to-day. Oh, I've got this, I've got client, I've got, whatever. And we wanted an opportunity to build as you go, do some stuff, walk away with actually something functionable and actionable, And again, there's a lot of people that maybe don't want to travel, can't travel, and we want it open for everybody. I don't care where you are in the world. Come, join, hang out, get to know everybody, increase your network.
Absolutely. Did you guys want me to cover what I'm going to be speaking about?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to do. Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say we've been chatting through a bunch of stuff. I just want to.
Yeah, no, I had it here in my sticky note, and you don't have a checkbox next to it yet, so.
Like, follow, share, subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
So what I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do is using a software called N8N, which is an automation platform. And I'm going to actually give you the blueprint for an automated AI-powered SDR. And that's a sales development rep. So no more having to go do cold email, no more having to do cold calling, no more having to follow up with the emails or the phone calls. The system does everything, learns from what it did, learns how people responded, changes its messaging, and then goes and books the appointment on whatever appointment booking calendar system you have. All you have to do is load a list to it. Wherever you get the list is up to you. I prefer to use Apollo.io, and I'll show you guys how to get those leads or those records for cheap, way cheaper than having an Apollo subscription. We're talking pennies on the dollar. So I'll show you guys how to get those. You'll be able to load it into a system, and it will go ahead and follow up with those people until they either opt out or they book on your calendar. And right now, running it for my own business, we're getting about a 20% booking rate.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a life changer, Dan.
Yeah.
That's absolutely life changing. And I'll throw in a plug for Dan here. I've heard Dan present. I know what he's capable of doing. We're friends offline. If you miss Dan's presentation, you're just an idiot. I'll just put it point blank. If you miss Dan's presentation, you don't even deserve to be in the business.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other part of it is I'm going to take the front end off of it. So none of this stuff lives inside of your current email system. It doesn't go into your CRM. The system is self-contained and runs itself. And only when they book to your calendar do you actually have to start doing the sales portion of the business. That part I can't help you with. That comes with knowing your audience and your product and all that sort of stuff. But the grunt work of having to actually go out and hire a BDR, somebody could cost you $1,500, $3,000 a month, depending on how good they are, plus commissions, plus bonuses, plus whatever. And I'm going to give you the whole thing. It's going to take 3 or 4 different connections. Yes, we are going to make a logic database. Terry, I know we talked about that's kind of important. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up Pinecone, which is a service that will essentially become the knowledge brain for your sales department. And it will go ahead and using that data, will go ahead and make the outbound phone calls for you. So it has all of your company knowledge. It has all the information. It understands what the rebuttals are and what comes up. And it just goes through and does everything systematically. And it could be your voice, it could be somebody else's. I'll show you how to set the whole thing up. It's 11 Labs, N8N, Claude or ChatGPT, a couple of other things, but we're going to play connect the dots for 2 hours. And by the time you walk away, you're going to have a system that's going to go out and be able to sell for you. And you can just focus on the one thing you really want to do, working on your business, growing it, and keeping your fulfillment going.
Well, and you'll give us all the requirements ahead of time so we can make sure people are ready to go. They've already, bought whatever they need to. I'd like to be super proactive with that, with all the speakers and here's your tech requirements. This is what you need, and this is what we're going to do. So
and
I know
everybody will also be getting a full SOP, all of the downloaded documents and files. And if I can get it to work correctly, I will be giving a 10 gigabyte B2B database of all of the B2B records in the United States.
Awesome.
So,
I'm going to raise the price. Hold on here.
Well, that's on Tech Day. So if you didn't buy Tech Day, now's your chance to get it.
Actually, you're on VIP Day.
I'll put you on VIP Day.
Even better. Okay, so I'm on VIP Day. So if you didn't get VIP, then sorry.
Yeah,
I want to be a VIP too.
Well, one of the things is you really don't want to miss the VIP is the only way to go because you get the tech day and then also the 3 days of conference. But you also, and we announced this last week, you also get 1 year paid of SEO University, which is probably going to be about $3,000 a year. So the VIP ticket is like value upon value upon value upon value. I had some speakers specifically request to speak on the VIP day, or teachers, excuse me. So yeah, just and also this is like I keep telling people, just because this is online doesn't mean we're going to go out and sell 1,000 tickets. You got to respect the teachers and be able to give them not just time to teach, but also have a small enough audience in the room to be able to teach and answer questions and do all the stuff that you want to try to do. So we don't want to have, 600, 700, 800 people sitting there trying to get Dan's attention for a 2-hour teaching class. So there are going to be minimums of when we're going to shut this thing off as far as seats. So don't just assume I'll wait till the last minute and like our industry always does. So I think spring training, I think we sold more tickets the last week than we did the 2 months leading up to it. So this isn't the event to do that with because we are going to limit it. Just like I said, I want the teachers to have enough time to teach and then have enough time to go through Q&As and really, really pound home the idea of what this event is. So, awesome. No, I'm looking forward to that, Dan. I'm so glad you're going to do stuff like that. got people coming in. They're going to show you how to do videos at scale. They're going to show you how to build websites at scale. There's all kinds of people going to be doing some crazy stuff. We don't skimp around when we put people together to teach.
Yep.
I have a question for you, Elisabeth or Terry. Probably Elisabeth, because she's the one that makes things really happen. I have some materials that I would love to give to everybody who attends. I've got at least 100 pages of detailed how to do it for controlling consumer decisions. And you can use that as inputs to AI, or you can use it in your own practices anyway. How are we going to be able to provide, documents, PDFs, details, etc.?
I will get you more of a definitive answer because I'm still reviewing the software as to what platform we're going to do. I like the idea of sharing it within the software so that it is limited. I don't want, a Google Drive may not always be the most secure route. And I want to make sure that it is protected against, obviously if somebody shares it, please don't, have respect. But I will get you more of a definitive answer, and that is very gracious and giving of you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'll onto that. So if you guys are grabbing a ticket, whether you grab VIP or not, I will talk with Elisabeth and Terry, but I have a AI-powered Slack bot that I've made inside of N8N. So I talk to it just through Slack. You don't have to log into N8N once it's set up. But it has access to my calendars, my CRMs, my emails, my appointments, everything. And I can ask it questions about what I have going on and what I'm getting as far as emails and messages in my, my teamwork account or whatever I'm using for project management. And it will queue up all those items first thing in the morning for me and tell me what I have on my list of stuff to do that day. And then I can have it delegate and actually fix all that stuff. And I know there are services out there that charge $150, $200 a month just to build an AI VA for you. I'll give you guys the system for free if you grab a ticket, and I'll have you guys put the general pop for that. So that's a non-VIP thing. I'll chuck it in there, full documentation, videos on how to set it up, the whole thing.
Awesome.
Personal assistants and VAs are just so invaluable. So that is a huge value. Thank you for being so generous as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, it's, especially as a business owner, we have limited time to do stuff and not enough time to check everything to keep all the plates spinning. So this will at least talk to the other softwares and bring back all the stuff that you need into one spot. Plus I can I can either teach people how to put it on Slack, or if you're somebody who doesn't like Slack, you can do Telegram or WhatsApp and do the same exact thing. So if your preference is to just have something in your pocket, I know you're making the crinkly face, Elisabeth, but if somebody's not on Slack or they don't want it, I can at least give them the ability to have it check all of the other things in their life so they can keep up to date with it.
That's awesome. Good deal. So, well, awesome. Oh, we're right at about our hour. So anybody got anything, last minute things, anything? If you're not using AI, start somewhere, please. Just start. Start with content. That seems to be the easiest place to start. But again, don't half-ass it. Teach it. Learn prompting. There's so many prompting things out there, but don't just take one's word for gospel.
Never half-ass. Always both cheeks.
Exactly right.
And I'm going to make this a little controversial, and I love you to death, Terry. I'm going to tell you, don't become a prompt monkey.
Yes.
Other things that matter.
Definitely. 100% agree with that.
Details.
Yep, exactly. So anyways, thank you all for joining us. Yes, like, share. Oh, I forgot the other two.
Subscribe and follow.
Like, share, subscribe, and follow. Good deal. I'll get this. We've only done 23 of these so far, so I'll get it.
I know. God love you.
But anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We're so looking forward to seeing you guys again. the online event. And if anybody has any questions or anything about the event or about anything that Dan and Marty and all of us covered today, just reach out and let us know. We're all over Facebook and stuff, so not hard to find.
This was like the fastest hour. Like, I mean, sometimes when it's just me and you, our podcast kind of drags along, and this just popped.
Yeah, it was good. So we're gonna have teachers on every week now for at least the next 3 weeks. But thank you again, gentlemen. You guys are awesome. I'm so looking forward to what both of you guys are gonna do and teach. And I think everybody's just gonna love it. So
let's party.
Yeah,
exactly right. So okay, thanks everybody. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you so much.
You got it. Bye guys.